good morning, or afternoon, or evening, depending where you are and what day you're watching this. For us, it is Monday morning. It's the start of another week, and I guess this is the start of another video. So what have we got going on this week? Inquiring minds may wonder.
It's exactly the same as last week.
We are Lisa and Tim, and for the last 2 years we have been busy restoring this 1975 Bedford Firetruck, which in a moment of madness we bought at the end of 2020 with the dream of turning it into an off-grid rolling home on wheels.
Leading Knuckles commence.
The dream is still alive, just.
This is bad.
After a few ups and downs, we are currently at the business end of this full-on nut and bolt restoration. Having taken literally everything apart, we recently finished the arduous task of cleaning up and painting the 22-foot chassis frame. And now we are working our way through all the stuff we removed from it. From the engine to the humblest washer, it's all getting the star treatment.
Job done. Let's get out of it.
We're getting close, but for now, it's all in bits, and we're just taking it one day at a time.
If you think too much about the project or what we've got going, it's a little bit overwhelming. So what we're trying to do is just get a little pile of stuff, work on that, just keep taking, going along, taking some bits, cleaning them up, not thinking too much about the bigger picture. So we're just getting on. We're still sandblasting up the bigger parts that need painting. You're still doing some plating. We've still got many of those to do. But we're getting through it, and I think that's what we're going to be doing.
Yeah, I've got lots of piles of bolts to do over here. Tim's got a sort of little piles of rusty looking parts to sandblast. And that is basically what the division of labour is at the moment, which is fine by me because it means that I'm not doing any sandblasting. Some good advice that I got recently, which I've really taken to heart, and I'm using it as a little mantra whenever I feel a little bit stressed, which is quite often, is do the day in front of you. So let's do the day in front of us.
All right, let's do it. These have been obviously sandblasted and epoxied. This is a cross member that goes over the gearbox onto the chassis. That's one of the hangers for the petrol tank. The other one needs some welding before I can paint that. This is the strap that goes over this. I'm going to carry on with some more of these bits. Only these two are going to get glossed, so I need a couple more things in here so I fill the tent up before I black them all. So I'm going to get on and sandblast that. Yeah, it's a big bit. I just keep putting it off, but I'll finish that one and get these done, and then a bit more black paint, and then find the next things to do and just keep on going through them. The pile of shiny bits is getting bigger and the pile of rusty bits is getting smaller. That's good. And one day they'll all be shiny. Hey.
The cake lady! Caught on camera!
Yeah, it's funny, once you sandblast over some of these bits and see the edges, you kind of realise, so I'm straightening it up a little bit. It's pretty good though. Well, I'm going to have to put a bit of welds in a couple of the corners where the spot welds have come undone. Little fixes. So that was it. Job done. Let's get out of it. I think the bins for the sand.
This is basically Tim's life right now. Whilst I'm busy zinc plating all the nuts and bolts, Tim has the unenviable task of sandblasting, priming and painting what feels like an endless parade of random pieces of rusty metal. And in case you hadn't guessed, it's all black, which looks great but is getting a bit boring. Not to despair though, we're currently researching gold leafing, so watch this space. In the meantime, we keep chipping away, getting through it one day at a time.
We've got the chassis, which encompasses all the back. And from the chassis, what have we done? Well, we have very famously, as you should all know by now, done the frame. That took weeks and weeks and weeks, so that's got a nice big tick. We've done all the scraping, the grinding, the sandblasting, the priming and the painting. All done. But of course, attached to the frame is a multitude of other things. So what have we done so far? What has Tim done so far? Because I'm having minimal to do with any of this at the moment. Well, you might remember we did the shock absorbers, the shocks, the very shocking shocks in the gold. If you haven't seen them already, do refer to our previous video. They are spectacular. From the frame, there was also some of the cross members which we detached. Tim, as you probably have just seen actually, has finished doing some more painting just this morning before the wind got up. So that's the 3 cross members that we took off of the chassis, which are now done. From the clutch, all the gubbinses of the clutch, we have done 1 rod. No, we've done 2 rods from the clutch. Excellent, okay. From the petrol tank, which is also going to be sandblasted and painted, there are 2 hangers, which the petrol tank attaches to and which it hangs onto the chassis. One of them's done, one of them is not done. Front axle, the main drive shaft from the front axle is now in paint. From the radiator, there is a support bracket, cooling pipe, and the fan shroud, which Tim has literally just finished and is currently hanging up in the tent drying. So that's all from the radiator. The transfer box is a couple of rods as well off of that. Have I missed anything? No. So that is where we are up to at the moment with all the bits from the chassis. Let me show you what I've been doing with the zinc plating. So yeah, back on with the zinc plating, just a quick update. So yesterday I did another 43 pieces I think, but most of those pieces were giant, so I could only do one at a time. So it was a bit of a long day. Anyway, so yesterday, yeah, I did like a load of these really lovely big bolts. As you can see, let me get them all out so you can see. I was pretty pleased with that actually. They're not the easiest things in the world to plate. The bigger the pieces and the more flat surfaces it has, the harder it is to get a kind of even distribution really. But they've come out and dried a lot better than I thought they would. So I just wanted to show you a little bit of a before and after. Now these 2 things here are apparently, according to Tim, because he just explained to me before I filmed this.
So they go inside the cross member, but they are the engine mounts.
Did you get that?
Oh, alright. How you doing?
I think with the actual body of these, Tim is planning on painting them as opposed to powder coating because they've got rubber seals in them, which probably isn't a good idea to put in the oven. Anyway, so these are the 2. This one still has all the gubbinses in it. We've yet to take it apart. So these bits, all in here, are the bits that I just plated. So you can see it's quite a difference, is it not? It's alchemy. once again. It's a proper grumpy day today, so you probably can't see these that well. So did a load more zinc plating the other day. They haven't come up as well the last couple of batches that I've done. They've been a little bit hit and miss, and been trying to figure out what's going on. Thought maybe it was the temperatures of stuff. Was I overplating? Was I underplating? We're not really quite sure. So today we're going to try and clean the solution in the plating tank. It can get quite polluted with the metals and everything once you've done quite a lot. And I've actually done, I think, about 500 pieces of this now, so it's quite a lot of plating hours. So we're going to try and clean the tank and see if that makes it any better going forward. So, fun day.
So we're going to try and filter this out into there.
Don't swallow it! Don't swallow it! Don't swallow it! Don't try this at home. I've done some rubbish jobs in my time, but filtering crud through a dust mask at approximately 1/4 of an inch an hour, it's a new low.
The other thing we're going to do with this, I think we can do, is, what do they call it, plating out?
Yeah.
Basically you put a big piece of metal in and you leave it for an extended period of time on a much lower current setting than normal.
12 hours in fact.
And the idea of that is that as well as plating the zinc, but it will also take out other metals and impurities that could be sitting in the liquid and plate those out as well, so you end up with a cleaner solution. We're going to try that, we haven't done that before, so we're going to see if that will help us get back our shine.
We all need to get back our shine sometimes.
So we siphoned off the electrolyte, draining the plating tank down to the crud. On days like this, when it's dark and raining, there isn't much we can do. So tasks like this, which get put off or neglected during the summer months, can be caught up on. And with the tank now all clean and sparkling, we were ready for the plate out.
So we've cleaned out the tank, removed all the crud from the bottom, put the electrolyte solution back into it, and now we're going to go the extra mile with it, and we're going to do a slow plate out just using a piece of random metal.
It was the most dreary of days, and whilst we waited for the plate out to hopefully perform its magic, what better way to spend it than go searching for more crud to clean up? This lot was to be found at the bottom of the petrol tank. After draining the obviously spoiled petrol into a handy empty paint can, we shone a torch into the depths and found...
Not the weirdest thing I've found in the bottom of a petrol tank before.
If I comb my hair with that, it makes me a petrol head.
It's quite literally the best joke she's ever told, ever. Right, this is exciting. I was starting to run out of nozzles for the sandblaster. No one's going to be interested, but we have used quite a few. Although I did find a new one. This is really good. And I was quite excited about finding a new nozzle. When I first put them in, they work better. The smaller the hole in them, the more the pressure it builds up, and it works much better. Unfortunately, when we buy them, the only way of getting them is you have to buy like a little pack of 4, and they're 4 different sizes, and the only really good one in it is the smallest one. That one works really good. The second size up we can use and it isn't too bad. And then the other two we can't use because they're just too big and they don't have enough pressure to them. So over the time we've been doing this, and we've done the whole of the cab, all of the panels, the chassis, loads of stuff, we've got through a few of these nozzles. Now, used nozzles here, ones we can't use, more used nozzles here. So we've got through quite a lot. These are the unused ones we can't use because they're too big. They were quite expensive when we first started looking around. It was something ridiculous, like 14 quid a pack or something. It's like, that's crazy. After looking around a bit, I found a really good deal. It was £3 for 5 packs. So, fresh in the post this morning, we got some new nozzles. And although I'm not really enjoying the sandblasting, there is something fun about getting a brand new nozzle in it because it just works so well when you first do it. So, yep, a few more of them. Let's get in there again. Really good. Yay!
That was the sheet of steel that we used to do the plate out. It's left a really nice sort of abstract painting on there. So yeah, so we've done the plate out. Hopefully the electrolyte is now returned to some nice purity. So I'm going to try it out this morning. We've also pretty much destroyed existing zinc anodes. So this is kind of about what's left of them. I don't know if you can see that, but you've basically got a little bit of a laced oily situation going on there. So, as well as cleaning up all the electrolyte, Tim has treated me to an early Christmas present. And apparently this is all I'm getting this year, you know, cost of living, all that. So, I've hopefully got some new anodes in here. Oh, look at those. Yeah, they're looking pretty good. So we've got 3 more new anodes. Hopefully that will see us good for the rest of the plating we need to do. And another bottle of the brightener. And I've also got, as a real special treat, some more of the copper wire, which it's quite a thick one, this, and hopefully it's uncoated, and hopefully it will work, because obviously, although I've been reusing the copper wire over and over and over again, I have to put it back in the acid each time to strip it back to the copper to reuse it. So gradually over time it's wearing away and snapping off, and the more you twist it and turn it and everything, the harder it gets to use. So I feel like I'm all equipped now to finish the rest of the plating, hopefully. Right, so after doing a few experiments with the cleaned up electrolyte in the tank, it's been still a little bit hit and miss. I think the thing with the zinc plating is you can have really good results, really good results, really good results, and then all of a sudden you'll get a batch that's just not a good result, and you're like, well, I've done exactly the same, everything is exactly the same. What's the problem? And I think to sum up with that, I think that is kind of a little bit what it's like. Sometimes you just get a bad batch, and I guess there's just like little variations in how they've been cleaned up, what the metal's like, how good condition the bolts or whatever were in the first place. Anyway, so the 2 pieces that you saw me doing, yeah, they came out okay. They certainly plated up okay. And then put them into the passivate, and you know, I've had better, I've had worse, but I've had better, so I was like, oh, Yeah, still not really sure. So I got out one of the old nuts that I'd done a previous batch on that hadn't plated properly. I think possibly it was because the wire wasn't actually attached properly. And cleaned it back up again and did that, and it's like the best thing I've ever done. So there you go. It's all kind of a bit random. Every time I think that I've got it exactly right, it goes a bit wrong again. And then just when I think it's all over and I'm never going to get it right again, you get that.
Alright.
Right.
Is that how we start everything? Alright.
Right.
I guess this is the end of a video. We've sort of just been like trying to work out what this video is, and we don't actually know if it's much of a video. Things are going good in the workshop and we're getting lots of stuff done, but it's really difficult to sort of work out how this works out into a video. Sometimes it's sort of quite obvious to you how you're going to weave it into a, sort of a bit of a story, and other times it just is like a pile of it's the same.
What we're left with really is what appears to be a lot of piles of rusty metal and a load of nuts and bolts. So it's just kind of chipping away at those bits of metal, essentially turning them from this rusty mess into this gorgeous, shiny, wonderful new thing. But all these pieces, it's like, what is this? Who knows? They're just these things. So it's, like Tim said, it's really difficult to sort of bring that together into a video, except to say that we are really making good progress and we're feeling really optimistic, and we're just chipping away and chipping away and chipping away.
Yeah, absolutely. It's been really good. We after doing the chassis, we put down all the bigger parts, like we've explained before. We wanted to get some of those bits done because they involved painting, and that also involves the weather conditions staying good. We've been lucky and fortunate at the moment. It's still good enough to paint. The temperature's down to like maybe 13 degrees. That's fine. And we've got through the piles of bits. We've got, I think there's like 13, 14 odd bits like lying around, including things like this, which have been painted, and we've got very few left. Unfortunately, the few that are left are going to take a little bit more time, and that also doesn't help for video when it's kind of just boring.
They're not very exciting
No.
things. You've got things like the air tank or the petrol tank, and it's like, well, okay, no one's going to get terribly excited about this. But all these bits obviously will eventually add up to the whole, which is going to be amazing.
The things like that are going to take a little bit longer because we have to work out the way we can best treat. There's a little bit of rust inside the petrol tank. It's not that bad at all, but there's a lot of options that open to us to how we can clean that out through electrolysis, through mild acids, through different things. And also the question of whether you coat the inside again. That's I'm not sure if it's a good idea or not. Yeah. So we also have to do a little bit of research on things because we're not experts. So there's that as well. It is going good. We've got a pile of powder coating, and we was like, oh, that's terrible. But then we remember back to last time when actually we had loads of it, and it took us hardly any time to go through all that. It was quite quick in the end, wasn't it?
Very quick. Yeah, I think we last year when we did the powder coating from the stuff off the cab, I think we thought that was going to be our winter work, and I think it took about a week.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But it's all good, and it's very encouraging sort of seeing stuff like this as well. When we come down to things like the axle, it's accidental in a way that we have one finished one and one unfinished one. The reason for some of this was I take one apart and we clean it up, I reassemble it because I have the original one to see how it all went together, and then we work on the other one. We keep doing that all the time. It just sort of makes it easier. My memory is terrible. And working on these parts that we have been, it's actually been really, really quite quick. I think with the sandblasting, with our setup, with the ability to plate stuff, we are able to turn around some items really quite quickly. It's only because we've got so many of them that it seems like it's slow. But, hardly any effort really to go into like turning something brand new, basically.
I think on a sort of day-to-day basis, we're both a little bit bored, I suppose, and I hope that doesn't come across too much in the videos.
I'm not bored. What are you on
I'm
about?
so bored. And I hope that you don't find it too boring, and thanks for sticking with us. Hopefully there will be a massive payoff coming soon for all of us. So
yeah. we have no doubt it's gonna look amazing. It's difficult sometimes to remember where you've come from. So we watch our old videos and we go, wow, we've done an awful lot, haven't we? But in the moment,
we find ourselves so entertaining.
Yeah, when you're here and you're seeing all this stuff lying around, it feels like it's a never-ending thing.
I was just going to say, if you have any questions for us or anything you want to know, do let us know. Just leave us a comment and we will endeavour to answer them. And that can be about the project itself, or about our plans, or whatever you want to ask, really, within reason. You can ask the questions. I'm not guaranteeing I'll answer them, but ask the questions. Before we go, I just want to say a really huge and special thank you to Steve Woodin this week, who became our very first patron. Thank you so much, Steve. And also a special hello to Olivia as well, who left us a lovely message last week. So thank you very much for that. We do have a Patreon. We haven't really publicised it very much because we're such a small channel at the moment. But if you're interested in joining Steve Wooding over there, because I suspect he might be getting a bit lonely, I'll put a link in the description below.
Yeah, thanks very much.
Thank you very much for watching, as always.
Yeah, thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Steve.
Bye! Our Patreon.
Yeah. We're like professionals now.
We're professional YouTubers.
We're professional YouTubers.
Wow. Yeah.
Did your tea just fog up the lens?
It could have been my tea. Oh no, I fogged it up.